I'm going to be giving the talk here today, and then Quinn will be helping answer questions. So we just wanted to show the picture on the right there is Quinn. We had a group of custom grazing cows in there that year, and that's our annuals grazing, or the kind of long-term annuals project we have that they were talking about a little bit earlier. So, and the plants in the bottom by his feet were the ones that were kind of the focus of my Nuffield study. Initially looking at feeding the rumen with the high energy, high sugar forages, but what we've been finding is it's been feeding the soil in a much more aggressive way than we expected. So that's been our new focus. So next slide, please. So we have a pretty simple grazing system at face value. One of our main goals is that we eliminate the grazing of perennial forages in the critical acclimation period in the fall. So September 10th till November 10th, we try not to be on, or we have not been on any of our perennial forages for probably close to 25 years now. The challenge then is how do you replace that with grazing? And so we looked at some annual systems and everything based on some stuff that I had learned in research with Ag Canada up until about 2011, and then following that with my Nuffield scholarship in 2013 and 14. So we try to create a full season annual system using a main crop with understory cover crops. And we have that full season green cover, full season living root. We cut and bale the main crop and just leave the bales where they fall out of the baler, just as a small 40-inch dry bale. And then the regrowth of the high WSC forages in the bottom really provides a lot of great late season growth and grazing. Which is not only feeding the cattle, feeding the soil, and then providing the critical rest to our perennials that we want to target. Next slide, please. So the fields of interest to our research partners in the past, and we're really privileged to be part of the LEAP project last year. Really looking forward to seeing the final set of numbers out of that. But we've had others in BU. We've had Ag Canada, I think, at some point, and we've also had some private interests as well as the watershed district, who has been in pulling samples at times. So we have these long-term rested perennial pastures, never been fall grazed since about 2001. We have our long-term full season annual grazing fields, and one of them has been used continuously in that system for 15 years, which is probably pretty unique since most people tend to rotate those fields and those cropping systems around. Because it's an important part of our grazing model, the fence and the water setup is obviously there. We keep using it year after year after year. So we have the history of the species, our inputs and our management going back on all those fields. And then, of course, working with folks in the LEAP project, we hope to build upon and learn from data previously collected by ourselves, which we have in the past, as well as previous investigators. Next slide, please. So the perspective from our farm here for being able to work with researchers and coming from that background, I really see the value in it. So I was able to be on site quite a few times to facilitate or even assist with some of the data collection. So that helps us in getting a better understanding of the methods and the goals of the collaborator, which I'm not one of those guys that just wants to accept things at face value. I kind of need to know the why and what's going on. The effective communication we had amongst all parties with LEAP was just fantastic, and it helps us ensure that our management of the fields that are under study meet the needs of the data collectors and the project itself. And then, of course, we also see the value in contributing to the greater good. Next slide, please. So the benefits to us, obviously, cost. We've had samples taken in the past that I would have really loved to continue taking. But I was told with the labs when I reached out to them to continue on that they could be upwards of $600 per sample, and that's just really prohibitively expensive to us as a producer. I got better things to spend my money on. And then of course number. In order to have a good, robust data set, the kind of collections we would take at home here would be difficult. So the impediments, of course, for us again are access or the cost of specialized data collection equipment. Which would prohibit, again, a lot of farm level effort. And again, coming from a research background, I have a really good appreciation of how much that can cost. And the expertise, being able to work with trained investigators and then work with them to help interpret the results of the data that they collect in a meaningful way. Because there's a lot of these disciplines that clearly I'm not, professionally trained in or even have a lot of experience in. So being able to have that relationship with the people that can help you sort through that and explain it is critically important. And then, of course, advancement. We can use that data for decision making on our own farm if it's robust enough, and there's enough that we can glean from it to help us see if we're on the right path or not. And not just for us necessarily. I still have the opportunity once in a while to go give producer talks. I have one coming up at the end of this month. So, with the permission and, of course, the acknowledgement of some of the data collected in the LEAP project this summer, I'll be able to share that to the producers in that meeting, and of course, it adds credibility to the message. We're trying to bring forward from about what's going on in our farm and the management we do, but as well, hopefully, that they can take that with more certainty to go back and help them with decision making on their own operations. So, a lot of real positives, I believe, in working with researchers to collect on-farm data, and the more that we can do to make sure that the data that they collect is really, really good data, is better for all of us. So with that, I'll wrap it up and turn it back to the organizers.